Girl, it's a lot going on over there in white people world. And you know what? I kind of want to talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
Shawty, come and swing my way. We ain't gotta waste no time now, baby. Put that all in my face. I just wanna bump and grind on you. On you, on you. Want you on my face, so shawty, come and swing my way.
I want people to have fun. Let's kick back. Let's get into a little tea. Let's not get too crazy, but let's enjoy the sip.
But let's get to the chi-chi, the kiki, the internet bull.
If you want to see extended videos, exclusive content, including story times and more, subscribe to my Patreon. If you want to stay engaged and keep up with my commentary, follow me on Twitter. And if you would like to book a personal reading, you can go to my website, thealigningsouls.com, to schedule you a personal reading today. What's going on, y'all? It's Santana, aka Cha-Cha-Cha-Cha-Chi-Chi, and we are back for another Let's Talk About It. And today, we doing something a little bit diff. Okay, we doing something a little bit diffy. Okay, we talking about not so much urban content, not so much hip-hop media, the shade room, baller alert, Hollywood Unlocked, black people-ish. But, you know, we're going to get into some white scoop, okay? We're going to get into some white scoop, okay? It's giving December. It's giving content and coin over here, okay? So, listen, if it's snowing outside, baby, it's about to snow all over these internet streets, okay? We're going to get into some white people business. But before we do that, y'all already know. Go like the video.
Nothing for free. I cuss a lot. Bitch, I'm a queen. Not like the thoughts. If you wanna be together, you gotta send that check down. You wanna be forever, you gotta send that check down. Gotta send a check on me. Gotta send the rest on me. Hey, hey. Gotta move successfully. If you want the best of me, hey, hey, gotta send a check on me, gotta send the rest on me, hey, hey, gotta move successfully. If you want the best of me, hey, hey.
You've been training.
With you, and I run behind you, and you keep the pace. I don't have to worry about these things.
Right. So if you are the pacer,
Yes.
you do have to worry about these things.
You're the pacer. That may be the pacey.
Yes. Yeah, you're the PC.
Okay, so yeah.
But we're gonna both be finishers, and that's what counts.
You are looking at me.
Well, you've been training. You've been training.
So this is one of the videos that came out, you know, that people were, you know, talking a lot about. Now, mind you, this is about 2 years old at this point, because I'm judging from this TikTok date. It says December 2022. So yeah, this is about 2 years ago at this point, or maybe about a year and a half ago. Okay. So yeah, maybe about like a year and a child. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. Listen, it's December 2023 now. So this happened about a year ago. And that's when we got the news that TJ Holmes and AB Robach had essentially left their exes and got together. There was like this whole big ass scandal. If you don't know, baby, Google it. I'm trying to find something that'll give us like a quick run through, because I don't know all the deets, ins and outs. But basically, these are two newscasters, I think, that was working for like a news station. And, you know, the word around town, the word around the office was that they was hooking up and shacking up. Now, mind you, I used to do my spirituality channel before I did my commentary channel. And I was heavily into doing like a whole bunch of like love readings. And, you know, for a long time, it was all about, and not even just with love, but like for a long time since C19 in 2020, it was all about living authentically, right? Living authentically, whatever that looks like for you. Like if you weren't with the right person, going to be with the right person. You know, a lot of people was in toxic relationships and didn't know it. A lot of people were in toxic jobs, toxic situations, you know, and it was just about, the last 4 years was really just about becoming free. That's part of that Saturn and Aquarius energy, was just becoming free and becoming liberated in certain areas of your life. And I used to be one of the main people who, especially when I would do my love readings, I would tell people like, hey, you know, if the situation is not right for you, break up. If you feel like there's somebody else, whatever. So I say all of that to say I was very pro love, but not only love, but just pro liberation. And when it came to TJ Holmes and it came to Amy, how they got together, was it messy? Absolutely. But was I for it? Yeah, because if they were happier together than they were with their exes, then that's who you need to be with. And sometimes, listen, I feel like I've been saying this a lot lately this week, especially since my Ashanti video, but I'm gonna keep continuing to say it. Especially if you're a woman dealing with a man, a lot of times you are just a placeholder for who that person really wants. And I feel like we all kind of do it to some extent. It's like we kind of know what it is that we're looking for. We know what we want, but then a lot of people either don't want to be single, don't want to settle, don't want to be single, or don't want to be left alone, or don't want to go without, and so they end up settling, or you just end up getting into relationships based off of whatever, but it's not necessarily ultimately what you want, but you just don't want to be alone. I was literally watching a video yesterday of TGIF, and Al was sitting there talking about how there's somebody who has 70% of what he wants, but that 30% really bugs him, and he doesn't know if he should take a chance on the person. And I'm just like, you probably shouldn't. But I mean, it really depends on who you are, because it's so many things at play with a lot of these relationship conversations. It's like, typically, if a person has 70% of what you want and not the whole 100%, you probably shouldn't mess around with them. But then at the same time, it's like, where are you in your life when it comes to dating? Like, are you at the stage where you are, because y'all do understand that dating happens in different stages, right? Like, we all start off from dating from our trauma, and so you date from a place of lack, which is more of like, you go after what it is that you want rather than what it is that you need, which is why your life ultimately always ends up taking shape in a much different picture and much different image than what you thought it would ever be. And typically your soulmate is not what you would think of on paper, because a lot of times you're going based off of what you want versus what it is that you actually need, or you're going based off of what society or whatever has programmed into you, whatever. So, I'm on that side of life, especially given that I do my spiritual readings. I have my alignment sessions where I help people get into alignment, and that is a part of it, figuring out who you are, to figure out, who you want to call in to be in a relationship with, or whatever, like who is your perfect soulmate, whatever. Those are all things that I expertise in. And so, hearing how they got together, I wasn't necessarily thrilled about it, but if they felt happier together, then I was like, okay, that kind of makes sense. Because again, society and just human conditioning and just depending on the situations around you kind of force you into these circumstances that may not necessarily be the best. But again, you may not want to be alone, or you may feel like, I'm obligated to do this, or I'm reaching a certain age and I have to do this, or this will look good for my career. And again, it's not what makes you happy, but it's just what makes the most logical sense at the time. And when it comes to intuition and emotions and your heart space, you can't necessarily, like, the brain doesn't function well within the heart. Like, it logic and emotions are two different things, and they do not necessarily go hand in hand all the time. But let me go ahead and play this video.
Good afternoon. Welcome to GMA3, What You Need to Know on this Friday. It's too bad it's Friday.
Is it?
It's been a great week. We want this one to keep going and going and going. Just enjoy it.
Speak for yourself.
Take it all in.
I am very excited about the weekend, and I'm sure everyone else is too. We all love our Fridays around here.
Amy Robach and TJ Holmes joked that they are having a great week amid affair allegations while co-hosting GMA3 on Friday. The co-host did not directly address rumors that they began seeing each other in March. A source told Page 6 that the pair are not ashamed of their alleged relationship.
Good afternoon. Welcome.
I mean, and I wouldn't be either. So the reason why all of this is like coming out into the news now when it comes to Amy and TJ is the fact that now it's a situation of them having a podcast, them finally kind of speaking up and standing up for themselves. And then, also the fact that now Amy and TJ's spouses are now dating, like their ex-spouses are now dating. Now, mind you, when all of these like news and allegations and whatnot came out, it was a lot that was going on. You had people coming out saying that, TJ was allegedly sexually assaulting them, trying to push up on them. They were trying to make it look like, oh, TJ does this to every girl at the office, every new girl, every intern. It was, a whole bunch of stories like that. And like, they really tried to like chump up the charges because of the fact that this person was Black. You know what I mean? And that was the case that a lot of people were saying. They were like, yo, if TJ was white, then Well, I mean, they probably still would, because I see it happen to all men, no matter what the race is. But definitely because he was black, they tried to make the situation a lot more salacious than what it is. So that's why everything's coming back into the news now, because they actually have a podcast where they are speaking on it. And then at the same time, in the same week, we're finding out that their exes are now together. Well, let's go ahead and check out this podcast.
Folks who lost the jobs we love because we love each other. And that is bottom line. And that is why we are here now. A lot of you understand that life, love, marriage, relationships can be messy, and usually are.
I think in the end, all of us are always rooting for love. And it doesn't always happen when you want it to happen, where you want it to happen. And it's undeniable when it's real. And it's something you have to navigate. And it's not easy. And anyone who's lived enough life, I think if they're really honest with themselves, can attest to the fact that relationships are hard, they're messy, they're not perfect, but we have fought for love. And I can say that I've never been happier. I am with my best friend. I'm not going to get cheesy. We have gone through, I think it's fair to say, a year of hell, but we have had each other through it all and had a lot of support from our family.
We're the folks who lost the jobs we love because we love each other. And that is bottom line. And
now listen, because going back to what I was saying about when I used to do my Aligning Souls videos, like there's a demographic, and I don't want to get too deep with it, but you have all different types of soulmates, and you have something called twin flames, and it has nothing to do with like the twin flame cult drama or whatever is playing on Netflix. Like, it's a real thing, and there is a real thing such as kingdom marriages. Now, I'm not saying that TJ and Amy are necessarily in a kingdom marriage. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not gonna even try to pick into that energy. But what I will say is that, you know, even if you think about it in layman's terms and think about it how we speak every day, like how people will see a meme and be like, oh, like, you know, my future husband is probably laid up with that bitch right now, trying to figure out how he can escape and get to me. Like things like that. Like, it's true. It's true. And a lot of times, like, yeah, your soulmate is wrapped up in another karmic situation because maybe they're not ready for you, or you're not ready for them, or like certain puzzle pieces have to fall together. Like, and there's also something too called the string theory. I don't know if you guys ever heard of that, but basically you already, like, at the end of the day, if you are destined to have, like, let's say a person, you've already met them. Somehow, somewhere, you've already met them. Maybe not physically, like, sat and had a whole conversation and whatnot, but like, it could be like they're interweaved throughout your life. And I'm not talking about a everyday round the way type of relationship. Like, you just go to the bar or go down to the trap and just say hi to a cute boy and y'all get together. No, I'm talking about your person, whether that's whatever you want to call it, your person. The string theory is real. You will have met them and not even known it, whether it's like they were behind you at a traffic light, or behind you in line at 7-Eleven, or you guys went to the same school at some point and didn't know it, or your sister is their best friend, or like, you know what I mean, like some type of way. Google it, you'll understand more of what I'm talking about. Actually, I can Google it. We're doing a fucking video. I can do it. Yeah, instead of me trying to explain it, child, thank God for TikTok, because I can literally just pull it up. But it's a real thing. It's a real thing.
What string theory is.
Sure.
We're not watching an 8-minute video. No. No, that got music on it. No.
All right, the invisible string theory. Let's talk about it. What is it? Does everybody have a string attached to them? How do I know if my person is on the other end of that string? Is it actually invisible? Bitch, yes. Yes. Okay, so stay with me, and if I lose you guys at any point, let me know. Okay, so the invisible string theory is that you are connected to certain people in this lifetime because they are meant to be in your life. You're supposed to have some sort of experience with them. You are supposed to meet them. So have known them when you were little. You could have already met. And you guys might not even talk anymore, but you can be in the same time and place in the most random place. If that happens, what does it mean? Sorry, I get so excited about this because it's just so cool. Like, You can't make it up. So if you guys are in the same time and place, and like you either see each other or like you randomly connect after you guys were in the same time and space, it's because one of you needs the other in some way to talk something out. You might be having a really hard time. They might be like, it might be time for them to learn whatever lesson that they pushed off if you already knew them. If you didn't know them and you just met them, it's going to feel magnetic. I literally can't describe it. Like, you are not going to want to leave this person. Like, attached to the hip, to the motherfucking hip. And I'm not talking in like a toxic little way. No. And like everything's flowing so nicely. Like, it's like fucking stepbrothers. Like, you guys are finishing each other's sentences. Like, you guys are just obsessed with each other. That's because of the invisible strength theory. But I'm here for it. Comment any questions.
And like I said, the invisible string theory is a very real thing. Some call it twin flames, some call it divine counterparts, things like that. And again, it's not a very common thing. So it's not like everybody walking around has their person. It all depends on your journey here on earth and like what you're here to learn. And it like, I could do a whole deep dive video on this. Like I said, I used to do content like this all the time, except we weren't using the language invisible string theory. That's something that I just recently learned that some people are calling it. But basically, if you know what twin flame is and you feel like you have one, or divine masculine, divine feminine, whatever, same shit. Now, I can even give you a bit of tea from my own personal life that, well, Chad, not let me, no, let me not get my tea. Let me get somebody else tea. Somebody else tea that y'all don't know. But I do know somebody personally who is kind of in a similar situation where it's like, you know, basically the person that they're supposed to be with has been in a toxic karmic relationship, you know, for a while. And, you know, that's usually how it can go. Like, you can meet the person that you're supposed to be with and they can be in a situation, and it's not your job to go and break it up or try to force things up. It's like, you have to let the universe work. You have to. And again, I have to keep saying, I'm not talking about these normal ass 3D ass toxic ass situations that happen every day here on earth. No, I'm talking about situations where it's literally like divinely paired by the universe. Now, is it necessarily a divine counterpart, an actual twin flame? I'm not necessarily saying that, because even karmics are divinely guided, because everything, like karma, people think karma is a bad thing. Karma is neither bad or good. It's about the lesson, right? So even a karmic partner is divinely guided into your life, and that is divinely orchestrated because it's there to teach you lessons. And even if it's a quote unquote twin flame or divine masculine, a kingdom husband, kingdom wife, whatever, that is also divinely guided, you know, because you've passed the lessons and, you know, now it's time for your forever, whatever. Whereas with TJ and Amy, I don't know whether it's like a twin flame type of thing, a divine counterpart situation, or it's a karmic thing. I don't know. But what I do know is that these two were meant to be together. These two was divinely orchestrated and were supposed to come together to learn a set of lessons. And they couldn't at the time because they had the other partners and whatnot. And, you know, through the universe working, they were able to eventually end up pairing together. Okay, let's go back to the podcast that they did. So the couple speaks about the day they were out as a couple.
I'm in love with this woman and she's in love with me. We lost the jobs we love and we are planning a life together. November 30th is the day. November 30th, 2022 was the day that we were, and this is very important, we were outed.
We were outed.
We were outed.
We were not caught
by a publication that outed us. And so to be clear, we were outed as being in a relationship, but everyone else thought we were being outed as adulterers, being outed as cheating on our spouses. And it wasn't the case, because the odd thing is that the day those pictures were taken and the day that article was released that outed us, we had both at that point were in divorce proceedings.
Yes, we had attorneys, mediators. We were in the middle of divorces.
But bottom line, we have not said this. I'm in love with this woman and she's in love with me. And we are planning a life together. November 30th is the day. November 30th, 2020. We shouldn't have allowed, I can say that in hindsight, but for folks to find out about our relationship before they found out about our divorces. if people would have heard earlier, okay, they're out of their relationship, now they're dating, maybe an eyebrow would have been raised or something, but it wouldn't have become what it became. And look, at that point, my daughter, I mean, she's 10. I was still trying to get her adjusted to her new reality of her parents not being together. And I'd been working on that for the past 3-4 months. So I didn't want to spring on her in that early that, oh yeah, by the way, you know, that Amy Robach, who's actually you've known since you were 1, has been a part of well, I'm dating her now. I didn't want to do that to her at the time, but I hadn't even told my mom about the divorce. So why the hell am I thinking about telling an executive at the network about it? We shouldn't have allowed, I can say that in hindsight, but for folks to find out about our relationship before they found out about our divorces. If people would have heard earlier, okay, they're out of their relationship, now they're dating, maybe an eyebrow would have been raised or something, but it wouldn't have become what it became.
Everyone in my tight circle knew I was getting divorced. I took my ring off early August. It was very clear to anyone who knew me that I was in the middle of a divorce. TJ is a much more private person than me and just chose to keep that to himself. But it was hard because anyone who was a viewer or anyone outside of a very small circle didn't know that either one of us were getting divorced. So that was one of the challenges we had in the beginning. So we were trying to clear everything up. Everyone in my tight circle knew I was getting divorced. I took my ring off early August. It was very clear to anyone who knew me that I was in the middle of a divorce. TJ is I'm a breast cancer survivor, and I just celebrated 10 years. So I used to always say that 2013 was the worst year of my life, the hardest year of my life. But I look back now, and it's interesting when you go through cancer. Yes, you're afraid that you're going to die, but you're fighting to live. And you've got all these people around you supporting you and cheering you on and saying, you've got this. And you feel this collective hug from people who are lifting you up when you're scared and you're going through all of these treatments. But this year, I wanted to die. There were days where I wanted to die. And that was something I had never experienced before in my life, where I just didn't want to get up. I didn't want to see what new headline was going to be out there. And that has been such an eye-opening experience. And then to feel like, you know, who is still behind me? Who supports me? Will I work again? Will I be ever trusted again? That I'm a breast cancer survivor, and I just celebrated 10 years. So
Well, then you had to do a welfare check, I guess, is the best way to put it.
It was 3:40. That's a very, very understated way of putting it. At 3:45 p.m. that afternoon, you sent me a text basically saying, I'm sorry. You were the love of my life. I'm so sorry this has happened. And you just kept saying you were sorry, but you were using past tense in the entire text. And I texted back and I said, you're scaring me. Please tell me you're okay. No response. I'm calling you. I call. He doesn't answer. I FaceTime him. He doesn't answer his FaceTime. And now I'm getting calls from work, producers trying to get in touch with him. He's not answering anybody. I start to panic, and my parents were there with me. And I didn't want to betray him by reading a text that he sent to me, to my parents, but I was so afraid that he had...
Well, then you had to do a welfare check, I guess, is
done something. And I read it out loud to my mom and dad, and I started to cry. And my mom looked at me and she was like, you have to go down there right now. You need to go check. And my dad said, I'm coming with you. And my dad came in with me, and I saw you, and you were just splayed out on your bed. And I ran to you. I said, TJ, and you didn't move. And I remember it was the most awful thing, having to touch your body to see if you were warm. I was so afraid. I said, baby, tell me you're okay. Tell me you're okay. And you were kind of just making no sense, but I knew you were alive, and I knew you were going to be okay.
That was the night, but the day was essentially me getting off work at 11 a.m. and I immediately started pounding vodka, and I didn't stop for the several hours. And then I took who knows how many weed edibles, and that's how I ended up in the state I was in.
Yeah, and done something. And
that's absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. And you know what? I don't even want to go to the comments, because I just don't. Because it's a shade room. That's already toxic. And then 2, I don't have time for all of the black folk, specifically ratchets, in the comments talking about, we don't give a fuck about this, that. Like, I mean, I know I started this video off saying, and white people's news, whatever, but clearly I'm doing a 25-minute video on it. So, like, come on. But, like, I like hearing them speak about their story, that's sad. And I don't care what race you are. I don't care who you are. That is sad. And those are emotions that we can all relate to. And having been somebody that's felt like that and going through rough periods like that, and like that, it's just sad. That's just sad. Just sad. Just sad. Because it even takes me back to like when I used to teach on my channel and do all of my readings and whatnot, and I would talk about the spiritual warfares and the battles that people would have to fight. And I know all too well about like situations like this. Because especially for people that's gonna end up, or just beginning divine partnerships. And again, I'm not saying that they're in one, but it's very similar because of the warfare and because of the battles and whatnot that you have to fight. Because a lot of times it is very risky and very hard, because it seems like something that happens out of nowhere. You try to keep it private for as long as you can, then it becomes public. It looks messy, and it's just like, wait, I never would have thought you would have ended up with this person. And but you cannot help what is divinely orchestrated. You can't help who you love. You cannot help what is divinely orchestrated. When it's meant to be, it's meant to be. Even if it's only meant to be for a little bit, to come in and teach you a karmic lesson, time will tell about that. But fuck the downfall of it. It's just the fact that it's divinely orchestrated by the universe, and it is what it is. But there is hardships that come along with that. And a lot of people don't talk about that because a lot of people haven't either experienced it or even gotten to that place yet. But like, this whole thing is sad to me. That's sad. I was not expecting for it to get that deep, but I believe it all. I believe it all, because everything that they're talking about, like I said, this things that I used to talk about and teach, my community of people when I was doing my love readings on Enlightened Souls. But let's go ahead and get into the more gossipy part about this. So Amy and TJ's exes, Andrew and Mara Lee, are dating after bonding over traumatic cheating experience. And you know what? Like, right off the bat, I would love to be like, okay, y'all just getting together because these two got together, and it's like some sort of get back, and like, oh, y'all just trying to be be petty, and like, what do y'all have to talk about outside of them? Who knows? Because even with everything that I just said about things being divinely orchestrated and whatnot, this could also be their happy ending. A lot of times, like, listen, you might be in a relationship right now, don't like the person that you with. The universe has been telling you that this is not the person for you, but you staying for whatever reason because you don't want to be alone. You don't want to start all over. Like, you know how many of y'all are afraid to start over right now? And y'all will put up with bullshit. That's why you preach so much about loyalty, whether it's, you staying in a relationship that's been going on for X amount of time, or you staying along with a friendship for X amount of time, or, you scared to cut off family, or you scared to cut off a job, or scared. Like, a lot of y'all are scared to even call in to work and ask for a date fucking off. To a job that's literally going to forget your damn name soon as you pass the next day. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, so I don't judge. I try not to judge. You know what I mean? And I find it very courageous for people to listen to the universe and follow what the universe is telling them to do, even if it may not make sense to the general public. I am all about public love, but a private relationship. You don't need to know the inner workings of what is going on in people's households. You just don't. It's none of your damn business. Show public display of affection, but you don't need to know the inner workings. And honestly and truly, this could be the way in which it was maybe meant to be set up. Who knows? It could be karmic, or they could actually end up being like, the best lovers of all time, the exes I'm referring to. Who knows? But the article says this is the happy ending we didn't see coming. The ex-spouses of TJ and Amy have gotten closer. Mara Lee and Andrew are dating, according to multiple sources. We're told that the couples have been dating for about 6 months after bonding over the traumatic experience of being cheated on. It turned into something else, and they're now connected over their values because it's bigger than the affair now, one source said. We're told that the hurt is over and the duo has moved on. They're not heartbroken and sad. Everyone has moved on. The new relationship comes on the heels of rehashing their love scandal on the premiere episode of their podcast. Amy and TJ insisted that they didn't cheat, you know. Okay, so we already got into the audio of everything. You know, and again, sometimes you're just not with the right person, you know. So I commend Amy and TJ. I know it was messy the way in which they got together, but I believe what they're saying. I believe every word of what they're saying, and I commend them for having the strength to break up with their spouses and get together. I commend them on that, because there's so many of y'all that literally, again, y'all are afraid to fucking speak up and ask for a damn day off at your job. Sitting here overworking yourself, sitting here clocking in for somebody else's shift, you know what I mean, to make extra money, you know, scared to take a day off for you. You know, you're scared to cut off family, or you're scared to cut off friends because they've been around for 10 years, or you're stuck in that relationship because you're scared to be alone and this is the only person that you're going to have. You scared to start over. Like, all of that is pussy shit. So for anybody that does whatever they need to do for their happiness, I applaud. So I mean, I don't care how messy it is, even for the two exes that got together. It's salacious, it's messy, but like, hey, if they feel like they got a good thing, who knows? Maybe they are a better fit. Maybe they are. Maybe they are. The reason why divorce rates are so high is because people focus more on chemistry than they do compatibility. And compatibility is something that even people that's 60, 70 years old still don't understand. Like, y'all just be dating people just because they cute, or just because they got a big dick, or just because they sell drugs. Like, y'all be dating people based off of dumb shit. Like, that's why I started asking people, like, yo, do you even like this person? Like, you doing all of this auditioning for them and trying to make sure that you're good enough for them. Are they good enough for you? For your standards? Or do you just not want to be alone? So I commend anybody that's going against the grain and say, you know what, I'm going to do what's best for me. And so in this situation, it seems like everybody is doing what's best for them. So I can't be mad. Congrats, CJ. Congrats, Amy. And congrats, Exes. I don't know. Let me know that in the comment box below, you know, what y'all thought about the situation, you know, as if I give a fuck. And definitely make sure that you stream my music as if you give a fuck, okay? Go ahead to the website, thealignmentsouls.com, so we could get all into your tea, your business, book you an alignment session. Let's figure out who your person is, you know, what your financial situation is going to be looking like. Is 2024 about to be your year? I don't know. Let's find out. Everybody want to say new year, new me, and then turn around and it's a bad year. Baby, let's see what's about to come for you in 2024. Book you an alignment session, thealignmentsouls.com. The website is on screen. Also, join the Patreon. I love you all, allegedly, in HD. I'll see you on the next one.
I do what I want, cause who gon' touch me? I get to the green cause I'm all about money. I'm looking like cash, you looking like cash. I'm looking like bags, you hoes looking like sex. You bitches looking like you can't get in. Got a couple dollars if you need to live. If I don't give a time, nigga, he will spend. So unless she irrelevant, she's a dime to these hoes.